Okay. All right. So this is the lightning talk, and that means that's me standing between us and Schwartz's smoked meat. But maybe I can offer you some IKEA Swedish meatballs. Okay. So, hey, using IKEA's design thinking approach to enhance library user experiences. So once again, land acknowledgement, McMaster, where I work. It's on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations. A little bit about me. We've already went through that earlier, two presentations ago or one presentation ago. So quick key point, what I want to make in this lightning talk. Some things that I want to discuss about hidden in plain sight and IKEA's design thinking approach, and some key takeaways for any of you interested in adopting this approach. Okay, so this is the key point here. Libraries should consider adopting IKEA's design thinking approach to enhance the library user experience. Now, why, you may ask, why? So first of all, what is design thinking? Again, I talked about it earlier, but I just give you a quick little a little review again here. It's a framework and an iterative process of discovering user needs and experiences and pain points and addressing them in an innovative and collaborative approach. And there's roughly 5, sometimes 6 steps to fulfilling that. So let me take you to Burlington, Ontario, where there's a large IKEA store there. So one evening, my wife and we went there. So as we're going through the maze-like, building of IKEA, passing all the furniture and the different mock-ups, I spotted in the wild user personas. And I saw many of these little posters that were pinned next to the different room mock-ups. So in this case, they were describing this fellow here. I can't see I don't have my reading glasses on. Alessandro lives in a refurbished unit in downtown Hamilton area. He was formerly a chef, and it goes on and on describing this person. What does he look for in his home and in his home life? So when I saw this, I said, wait a minute, these are personas. And I started seeing more of them across IKEA. So these were, again, little posters pinned next to each room. And it just got me thinking, I would love to learn a little bit more. What does IKEA do? How do they build their experiences for their customers? So these are some examples of user personas, again, describing people in their lifestyle and their home and their desires for their home. Some more additions here. So, of course, when you're IKEA, you get hungry, and then you decide, like, hey, let's go to the cafeteria. And of course, when you're at the cafeteria, you see more things about how are we doing? So there's some QR codes that you can zap and say, we really like your feedback. Tell us how your food service was today. So they're creating a lot of these channels for you to keep submitting your feedback, your experience, whether it's about food or whether it's about the shopping experience. So it really got me thinking about IKEA, a little bit less so about the store, but a little bit more about its procedures and processes. So I did some digging around on Google and some searches on YouTube, and I discovered that there's a key person here, Marcus Eggman, and he's the Chief Creative Officer at IKEA. And in a couple of videos that I watched about him, very interesting, very informative, he talked about IKEA's vision statement, which is to create a better everyday for the many people. And he called this company a vision-driven company. And he said his company was fascinated, almost obsessed with life at home. How do people live at home? What are their dreams and hopes and frustrations? So he said that the company interviews thousands of people annually. They visit homes. They learn about how people live, what frustrates them, what they dream about for their home. He talked about his democratic design principles that include form, function, quality, sustainability, low price. And these are some of the things that guide which products get sold or which products get benched. He talked about hosting boot camps or co-creation events where people were invited to participate in coming up with some solutions for fixing their, kind of hacking their home or their closets or their cupboards or whatnot. People participating and getting involved. So he said that ultimately the company is curious about people, about problems that people face, and about inclusion. And this is a quote from Marcus in one of his videos. Actually, this was an article from Fast Company. And he said, I think design and design thinking is more needed than ever right now in the world. There's never been more problems that need to be solved. So when I think about it, what problems are your students or faculty or researchers encountering when interacting with the library? Think about it for a second. What problems? And how might design thinking, and maybe the IKEA flavor design thinking, might be able to tackle those problems? So as a final takeaway here, kind of a call to action or a call to think things over. Be inspired, maybe, be inspired a little bit by IKEA's design thinking approach. Become a vision-driven organization. We have vision statements. All of us have vision statements of our organizations, but does it drive us to some action? Understand your users, their needs, their frustrations. So I was, develop user personas. They very creative way of what they did in IKEA, having them posted next to their mock-up of different rooms. Get out there. IKEA goes to people's homes. Well, we mean not necessarily go to people's homes or students' homes or faculty's homes, whatnot, but they're getting out there. They're hosting events, boot camps, usability testing. Some of the things that we can do. Discover ways to amplify user voices, and that's something a bit of a challenge. Like, how do you really capture voices? I think in the previous presentation there was mentioning of frontline staff hearing from students, but that information doesn't really get back to some of the other people who are doing the design on the service side of things. So find ways to build channels that you can reach out to students and hear what they're saying. Seek inclusivity, work with a diverse group of user groups to understand their needs and preferences. Co-create solutions. There's IKEA, there's maybe a reason why they tell you to build your own things. There's an investment when you build your own product that comes in a flat pack box. You feel like you're part of it. So maybe having students part of the problem, part of the solution rather, can help in getting more user experience, positive user experience. And ultimately, become driven problem solvers. I think the world is a lot of problems. And even, we try our best to be problem solvers, applying these different approaches. Even when the problems are challenging and difficult, we still got to move forward. So there you go. Tack. That's how you say thank you in Swedish.